Never thirsty. Never thirsty.
And I remember Black Eyed Peas. That was the first time I heard them. Like, I was unaware of them until that I heard them on there.
Wow.
Say what?
That's the whole point. That's why I think mixtapes are so still purposeful and why DJs are so important, because you really do discover artists when they are put into, a whole like playlist of other artists and mixed in and blended over and stuff. I think that that's still important in hip hop.
Oh, for sure. It's missing now. I mean, that's how, but I guess the discovery of it is different because like when I was younger, I had to get mixtapes or else I wouldn't hear anything.
Here's the process. There's something to when we discover it versus being force fed it.
Right.
Yeah, there's a big thing for that.
Yeah.
There's a thing called new digging now where you could dig on YouTube the way we used to have to dig on through vinyl. We could dig on YouTube to find new artists now. So it's kind of like a new way to find it on your own.
Right.
With these new guys upload, SoundCloud, YouTube, I would say you could find new artists, but it's not the same. The mixtape era was great back in the day,
Yeah, I'm thinking about like I was up in Toronto, so we're not. It's like it's to get at your hands on you can't even get a Rectangle mixtape there. They had the Tony Touch stuff, and I would buy the shit of all of that. It wasn't until I moved to LA that I learned about Rectangle, and I was on Venice Beach. I swear is where I would go to buy them. But I remember
that was a good place to get them. That means you was getting them pretty much from the source. I had people bootlegging the out of those, but by the time the bootleggers hit, we had already gone through what units we had.
There was a couple like skateboard shops in the valley you could get it at too.
Oh, those were official outlets for us. We would have our guys going by there hitting them all. Perfect.
And they were the best. I remember J.O. Felony. I could give it to you, but what you gonna do?
Yeah,
all that stuff. Yeah, and Rectangle was like cutting on another kind of level than what typical DJs were doing at that point. He was kind of
he was a beat juggler for sure.
Yeah, the man. So, I mean, all this experience doing radio and being involved with Baker Boys and Wake Up Show, at some point you had to think about management. I mean, this Eminem deal you just told us, like pass through your fingers. At some point, it looks like you have to be inspired by what happened or didn't happen or almost happened and be like, wait a minute, there's something here.
Yeah, I avoided management. To be honest, I avoided it like the plague.
Yeah, sounds like it seeked you out.
Yeah, I mean, I working with some of the big management firms, or like people like Rifkin and Happy Walters and Amanda, getting brought into professional career of management, talent representation. It's any and all of the same. So by the time I got a chance to work in corporate America for Warner Brothers and Benny Medina, I had my chops like really in order on the management scene. I understood what it took to do deals. I knew the diligence of, top to bottom with an artist, how to wake up and go into my day, into the evening of what it took to really be a successful manager. Because I saw what managers were not able to do with the record labels. And I think my strong point was dealing with the labels. My weakest point was actually dealing with the agencies. When in fact, I could, I felt like it was so like, who cares about the shows? Let me worry about the music. Let me worry about the artists. Let me make sure that my artists are straight. And that show money is their money. Because on several occasions, somebody like Son Doobie, Ralph M, Tomahawk Funk Dubious.
Yeah.
I wasn't concerned about them going out on tour. And then, Son and I we would be controlling, like we'd have a conversation like, oh yeah, I got 10 grand. Oh yeah, I got 12 grand. And, we was having these conversations with each other. And one day he came back, he was like, hey love, I'm about to go buy my Yukon, get my Rollie, I'm gonna be in effect. I was like, shut up, you're gonna need about $65,000. He's like, I got it. I was like, what? He was like, yeah, I just got back off tour. I got my check, I'm good. I was like, what? Huh? You got off tour? I was like, wait a minute, hold on. That's when I got like, oh, light switch. And it's so funny, I was with Muggs last night, and he was doing his big release last night for him and his new artist that he's working with, Crime Apple. And, I've always Muggs, that's my guy. But the thing was, I was really kind of like, yo, I gotta secure a bag like Muggs with my own artist and go tour, because that, I'll be damned if I'm sitting here 9 to 5 and I'm doing
Right.
all the working and I'm not getting the bag.
Is that Muggs tour? Is that like Funk Dubious, House of Pain, Cypress Hill kind of thing?
Well, that particular tour came. That's not when I was having this thought process. It was like Funk Dubious had just went out and did a few shows. They did like
Right.
a young Tinder run, and
That's
then
a
the
good
next
time
thing
for a
you
few
see, Son's
shows.
coming back. Yeah, Son's got all this bread. I was like, what?
Yeah.
Not having it. I'm getting to the bag as well. And that's when Volume 10 and some of the other artists like I Smooth 7, I started my own production company and was really trying to develop producing artists and making records and, you know, that kind of vibe versus just running someone else's label and management company.
Sure. Better to make your own business than build up someone else's if you can.
Yeah, I'm about being a self-starter, so that's what it's all about, you know.
Yes,
And I guess at that point it's a golden era for making money because, you know, people were still buying records and you're still selling, you know, at one point CDs were like $20, but I guess like towards maybe the tail end of CDs at just $12.99, $13.99, but people were literally burping on a track and it would go platinum. Like if you put out a rap CD, it would go platinum.
Well, you know, here's the thing.
Yeah, tell me why I'm wrong.
It was more people coming of age, learning about this platform, this culture. It was a lot of people starting to learn about it, right?
Right.
And I think we have way more listeners and people who felt like, wow, I can rap, but I don't know the first place to start. I don't know where to start because I'm in St. Louis. Where do I start?
Right.
And it was more of a magical place versus everybody who felt like they had access to a studio on a computer who could just get up and go and put their record out. Next thing you know, they pop it on Instagram.
Yeah.
So I only say that in terms of the music and everybody who can burp on the track or whatever, I'm not going to say you're wrong, but it was more competitive. And so you had people really speaking up and they weren't just burping on tracks. They had lyrics, they had beats, they had scratching, you had dancers, you had hell of an artwork. You had a culture coming through as a dynamic, you know, like
actually there's more people burping on tracks now that you put it that way.
Never thirsty. Never thirsty.